He cries every night at 12:07 a.m. The creepiest urban legend in America. Part 1. Whispers among the pines. They say, if you walk too deep into the woods behind Maple Hollow, you'll hear him before you see him. A soft cry, faint, broken, the sound of a child no older than 7, sobbing somewhere beyond the trees. The townsfolk of Elmsbrook, a quiet rural patch in Pennsylvania, have passed the story down for decades. They call him the Crying Boy, and they warn outsiders, don't follow the sound. It began in the fall of 1954. That year, a young boy named Caleb Rourke went missing during a family picnic deep in the forest. His mother swore she'd only taken her eyes off him for a minute. 1 second he was there, laughing near the creek. The next, gone. A massive search was launched. Dogs, volunteers, helicopters. They found nothing except one thing. The child's red wool sweater, neatly folded on a moss-covered stump 2 miles from where he vanished. That's when the story started. At first, hikers reported hearing crying. Always distant, always moving. Some said they followed it, thinking they might find a real lost child. But the sound led them in circles, or worse, deeper into parts of the woods that didn't seem to exist on any map. A retired park ranger, Elias Brewer, once said in an old interview, "I heard it in '74. Thought it was a prank until I realized I'd walked 3 miles off trail without noticing." The crying stopped. Then I heard laughing, high-pitched, not like a kid, like something pretending. Since then, people avoid the woods near Maple Hollow at night. Or at least the locals do. But every few years, a story resurfaces. A camper gone missing, or someone seen wandering barefoot out of the woods, eyes wide, unable to speak, clutching a red thread in their hands. Part 2. Those who followed. In the spring of 1967, a college student named Donna Whitmore disappeared while hiking near Maple Hollow. Her story would have faded into another tragic footnote if not for what they found in her tent. It was still pitched when the Rangers arrived, neatly zipped, with her journal lying open on a sleeping bag. She'd written about the woods, about how peaceful it was, about the chill at night. And on the last page, hastily scribbled in shaky handwriting, was one line, repeated 6 times. He won't stop crying. He won't stop crying. He won't stop crying. Donna was never found, but others, those who returned, tell stranger tales. A hunter named Mitch Darden stumbled out of the forest in 1982 after being lost for 2 nights. When asked what happened, he whispered, "He walked beside me for hours. I thought he was my son. Same height, same voice. But when I turned on my flashlight, there was nothing there. Just shadows and a smile floating in the trees." Locals say the crying boy doesn't just lure you with sorrow, he adapts. He sounds like someone you love. He cries like your child. He pleads like your sister, your brother, your mother. Anything to make you walk deeper. Some believe it's a spirit trapped in grief. Others say it's not a child at all, but something much older, using a child's voice to feed off empathy and fear. There's even an old log from the Pennsylvania Forest Commission, dated 1973, reporting several sightings of a barefoot child near Pine Loop Trail after dark. The case was dismissed as likely the same prank repeated by local teens. But those who've lived near the woods long enough know better. They say if you hear him crying, do not speak. If you follow him, you'll never return the same. And if you see him, if you truly see him, run. Part 3. The Face in the Fog. In 1995, a man named Jeremy Klein, a former Army medic and amateur survivalist, decided to spend a weekend alone, camping in Maple Hollow. Locals tried to warn him, but he laughed it off, saying he didn't believe in ghost stories whispered by hillbillies. He went in on a Friday. He came out Sunday morning, on his knees, barefoot, and covered in mud, his eyes swollen and bloodshot, and his hands shaking so hard he couldn't hold a water bottle. For days, he refused to speak, but eventually, after sedation wore off, Jeremy gave a single recorded statement to local police. Here's what he said. "The first night, I heard the crying. I thought it was an animal, maybe a fox. It sounded weird, but not human. The second night, I woke up because it was right outside my tent, still crying, soft, like it didn't know where it was. I got out. I had my flashlight, and I called out, thinking maybe a kid got lost. But the crying kept moving, always just fog, rolled in out of nowhere, thick. Couldn't see 2 feet ahead, but the sound kept pulling me until I saw him, a boy in a white shirt, standing between 2 dead pines. His back was to me. He was shaking, like he was cold. I said, "Hey, are you okay?" He stopped crying, just froze. Then he turned around. Jeremy paused at this point in the recording. The officer asked him, "Did you see his face?" Jeremy's reply, "No. I saw what was wearing his face, like it didn't fit, like someone put a child's skin on a thing that didn't know how to smile. The eyes were too wide, and the mouth, it didn't stop moving. Jeremy spent the next 6 months in a private psychiatric clinic. When he was released, he moved to Arizona and never returned to Pennsylvania again. He told one reporter later, "Whatever that thing is, it's not a ghost, it's bait. Bait for something that remembers how to cry, but not how to be human." Since then, sightings of the crying boy have become rarer, but never fully stopped. And some say he started appearing in new places, far from the old woods of Maple Hollow. Part 4. Last footage. In 2019, the legend of the crying boy resurfaced online when a group of urban explorers and paranormal YouTubers known as Dead Signal posted a teaser titled, "We're spending the night in the haunted woods of Pennsylvania. He cries at midnight." The group consisted of 4 members: Jake, the host, Marla, camera, Ryan, tech guy, and Ty, skeptic. They specialized in overnight challenges, ghost hunts, and debunking myths. But this time, they wouldn't upload a full video. Only 22 minutes of footage ever made it online. And then their channel went dark. The clip begins lighthearted, full of jokes and bravado. They interview locals who warn them not to go. One old man even saying, "He ain't crying for help, kids. He's crying so you will." They laugh it off. Night falls. At 12:03 a.m., the sound begins. A distant, rhythmic sobbing. Soft at first, almost childlike. Ryan mutters, "It's got to be a looped off." But as they move closer into the trees, the sound never gets louder or quieter. It stays exactly the same, like it's coming from inside their heads. At 12:37 a.m., Ty walks ahead on his own, joking that he's going to find the kid and give him a tissue. He vanishes into the fog. They call out. He doesn't respond. Suddenly, Marla's camera picks up movement. Just behind Jake, a figure standing still among the trees. Small, pale, crying. Jake turns around. Nothing there. Then Ty's voice echoes from the woods. "Guys, I'm cold. I don't know where I am." But the GPS shows they haven't moved more than 300 feet from their camp. The video cuts to static for a few seconds. When it returns, Jake and Marla are running, breathing hard, yelling Ty's name. Ryan is gone. The last minute is Marla holding the camera against her chest. That's where the upload ends. The channel never posted again. Their accounts went silent. Families filed missing person reports for Jake, Ryan, and Ty. Only Marla returned. She was found wandering along the roadside near Elmsbrook at dawn, shoeless, eyes wide open, crying without a sound. Her lips had been sewn shut with red thread. She never spoke again. Part 5. The Sound That Spreads. It's been years since the dead signal incident, and Maple Hollow is no longer just a whisper in Pennsylvania folklore. It's a hotspot, closed off, fenced, and patrolled. Locals don't talk anymore. The old signs that once said campground have been burned, replaced by rusted warnings: do not enter after dark. Sound carries things you don't want to find. But the boy, he hasn't stopped. In fact, he's been heard elsewhere. In 2022, a park ranger in Oregon filed an internal report describing a strange phenomenon in a forest 3,000 miles away. A child crying every night at 12:07 a.m. No prints, no evidence, no missing reports, just the sound. Rangers take turns sleeping with earplugs now. In 2023, a viral TikTok claimed to capture the sobbing boy in Norfolk, Virginia, with a caption: "The crying kid is real. I followed the sound. I think I messed up." The user vanished 3 days later. Some researchers believe it's a meme that became real. Others say it's a form of auditory contagion, an urban legend so strong it infects minds, makes them hear things that aren't there. But there's another theory, the one no one wants to say out loud. The crying boy isn't tied to one place. He never was. He's spreading through stories, through screens, through attention. And every time someone listens, every time someone cares, every time someone asks, why is he crying? They bring him closer. There are even whispers now that he's not crying anymore, that the sound has changed. Lower, raspy, like laughter, muffled under skin. So, if you hear it, tonight, tomorrow, or someday far from now, that distant sob in the dark woods behind your home, in the alley by your apartment, or maybe just beyond your own bedroom wall. Don't follow it. Don't look for it. And above all, don't listen too long, because what follows you back doesn't always cry.